And today, it's Friday, people. It's Friday. It's Happy Friday. And not only is it Happy Friday, it is a drama-free Friday, don't you know? So I'm glad you're here. I'm Barb Owen, and I am so happy you're here to spend this time in the studio with me. You're in the Creating Faces studio, aka Barb Owen Designs, but really and truly, it's just how to get creative. That's really the whole thing. We like to get creative, and my job is to teach you how to. Or not teach you. Sometimes I teach you. Sometimes I just cheerlead for you. Sometimes I just encourage you. So anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah. Oh, Linda, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Linda. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Oh, I see someone named Race Owen has popped into the chat. Yes, I do. Yes. Do you know who Race Owen is, you guys? Do you have any idea who that is? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody's guessed. Nobody's guessed so far. Okay. Does the last name give you a clue? Yes. Race Owen is otherwise known as Hot Sun. Yes, he certainly is. So I got a surprise for you today. I definitely have a surprise for you. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our special guest today, who happens to be the one and only, yes, you guessed it, the one and only Hot Sun. And he is, he's chatting with us all the way from, let's see, not France this time. He's chatting with us from where? Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles right now.
Oh, darn. I wish you were upstairs. I wish you were here.
No, I'm not. Surprise, upstairs.
Oh, doggone it.
Time.
I
was in France, though, last time I spoke with you guys.
Yes, he was in France. And that was fun. And it was a great chat. We had some reception issues and some, goofy things going on. But the worst part of the whole thing, the mother forgot to hit the record button. She was so excited about making everything work that she didn't record. So the mother person got in trouble with the father person. Yes.
Did you hit record this time?
Yes, I did. And not only that, I had a big old sign to remind myself in 2 places, but I got it. Yeah. Oh, and Nini427 says, "Hey, hot boyfriend."
That's funny. That's Hot Girlfriend. She has her own little YouTube channel if you guys want to check that out, too.
Yes, Nini427 has her own YouTube channel, and it is Nikki Beauty Bliss, right?
Yeah, that's right. Nikki Beauty Bliss. Nikki Beauty Bliss.
Okay. Nikki Beauty Bliss. And I'm trying to get her to come here and help me. Yeah. I just need her to come. That's all. Yeah. Okay.
Well, come on and do a little Skype with us.
Well, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. We'll get her to Skype with us, too.
Yep.
So why don't you tell everybody how France went? What was that like?
Good. It was a long trip. I ended up getting a food allergy from some shellfish, which wasn't fun. I didn't know I was allergic to escargot. Some of you might know that that's snails. And I was being adventurous, and I got sick, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But I'm healthy, I'm well, everything's fine. It was just a whole bunch of hives. I turned into like a real itchy monster for a while.
And you were very fun to be around, too, during that time, I'm sure.
No, I was not. You should ask Nini427 about that.
Yeah, she would probably attest to that, wouldn't she?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
But it was a good time. We had a good time. We were there supporting and campaigning one of the films that we do. My day job, quote unquote, is that I produce movies, and I have a production company in Los Angeles. So we end up doing a lot of corporate work in video and web design and marketing and all that kind of stuff, which is one of the reasons why we, Mom Stuff is got a lot of stuff, a lot of people behind it and whatnot. So most of those people are me. But
most people have teams of people. I have a team. He just happens to be multi-personalitied in one body.
Good, but we'll go with
it.
That.
Works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It works. Okay, so I understand you have
fun, and we have a bunch of stuff we wanted to talk about today, and I'm just going to let you talk about it, though.
Me? You're going to let me talk?
Yeah.
What am I?
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. I have something else to say. Happy birthday to all the July people. My birthday's in July. Mom's birthday's in July.
Yep.
Nicole's mother's birthday in July. Who else was in July?
We have
one of our guests?
We have a guest, Linda, whose birthday is.
Happy birthday to Linda too.
Yeah, she has a birthday today, and I don't know who else.
July people.
Vicky L. Vicky, who has a last name that's like this long. Her birthday was last week, I think. I look proud. Of course, I look proud. I get to see my son.
And I do have chat, everybody, so if you want to ask questions, I'm looking off that direction. I have chat, so if you want to ask questions, you can do that with your 3 question marks or whatever Mom says. I'm going to let her do it all.
Yeah, you got to do it in caps because I can't use the other chat yet.
Oh, there you go.
And who else? Jillian's birthday's in July, so that's cool. Okay, so happy birthday, everybody. So here we go. We have been working shall I just say for flippin' ever? We've been working a really long time to get HowToGetCreative.com on the map, and we've been launching little bits and pieces of it over the course of maybe the last month or so. And so some of you have found the all the cool stuff we've been doing on the website, and some of you have found stuff we've been doing on YouTube and so forth and so on. But that was all leading up to. I wish I had a drum roll. I wish I had a drum roll.
We make one.
There you go. So we have been leading up to this very important and super duper fun moment. Yes. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a minute. What do you think it is? Anybody? Rain says she signed up today. So apparently we have someone already signed up. All right, Mr. Race, are you ready to give him a little hint of what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So let me share my screen here.
Okay, do you want me to change to the other shot now?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
All right, so you should see my screen right about now. So do you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, this is the wrong picture. There you go.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
The members area is finally done. Finally ready.
Can we just say hooray?
It took a long time to get here, but here we are, and that's a good thing. Let's get a little backstory on this. Mom started streaming a while ago, and she and I were working on a book about caregiving, and we had gone through that project, got to the end of that project, and she had picked up streaming as a fun release, as a way to spend the time, and just kind of get back to where she was before her time caring for her mom. And we had gone through that project. It was a good experience. It was a long experience, and it was time to move on to something fun and creative. And so she was doing the streaming. And that's where a lot of you found her. Then it was time to maybe move on to a website and so on. And we want to make sure that it was good, it was quality for everybody, it was easy to use, and that it was a really good, fun community, a good way to extend the community of Ustream and enjoy the creativity that she obviously is so talented for and known for. So we started building the website, and this was 2013. Is
Yep.
that right?
Yep.
2013. And because of day job on my end and time commitments and technical challenges and people, all those different things, it has extended, time is extended over and over and over. And here we are finally now in 2015, July 23rd, 24th. And we're finally able to say that both the public website that you guys have had time to spend time on and the private website, now the members area, are both now live and ready to go. Today we're going to show off a little bit of the back end, but we're not going to spend too much time on this. I'm going to turn it back over to Mom so she can do her normal stream, and we'll have a little open house in the next couple of days. So without further ado, shall I show it off a little bit?
Yeah, please.
All right. So if you have gone to the website any time in the last month since I left for France at the end of May, all through June and most of July, you'll see the normal website that's public and available to everybody. And you, of course, can visit this anytime you want to and get all kinds of new fun stuff like tips and tricks and product reviews and all sorts of fun stuff. And there have been a couple of classes that we launched the site with. Well, in future, all those fancy classes, the long extended classes, are going to be in the members area. Of course, you guys are still going to have all of the fun free stuff like blog articles and tips and tricks and video reviews and those sorts of things. And this type of stuff on Friday. The live stream will not go anywhere. It's not going to change. It's all still going to be the same way as it always was. But if you've ever been to the website, you'll see over here at the top right, it says Member Login. And if you've clicked on that, you've gone to a page that has been just a placeholder page. And it would say Coming Soon. It was just a gray background. Well, now it actually has a little placeholder, but it actually has a little extra information on it. And it says the member site's ready. We're just tying up a few loose ends. If you'd like to receive updates, please sign up below. And there's a little form here. But I'm going to show you what the actual member site looks like. So let me leave that page for a second. So here we go. Let me log into the members area. And this is the live demo, so live technology always bites us in the butt. If it does, it is what it is. We'll restart. So this is what the members area looks like. And like I said, all of the major classes, the long classes that are an hour long with all the product demonstrations and the product photos, the demonstration photos, the class supply list, the extra patterns to download, and any sort of extra downloads that are involved will all be inside of the members area. Now let me show you just briefly. There are video categories, and we have a bunch of categories including art journaling and art supplies, doll making and fabric and flowers. Let me scroll on down the page and show you that those items are, those class categories are represented down here too. Let me just go to, the art journaling category. And you can see, once we're inside the art journaling category, it will show us the classes. So here they are. These are the 3 classes that are currently inside the members area. And most of you have probably experienced these classes on the homepage, on the public area too. Because it's the same information today. From here forward, all these classes will be inside the members area. Let's just open up one of them. Let's go to this one, Distress Paint Without the Stress. Because who doesn't need less stress in their life? Right, Mom?
Oh, for sure.
Right, I think everybody in the audience probably feels the same way. So on the class page, I'm not going to go too detailed here because we'll have an open house and really show all the details later at some point in the future. On the class page, you'll see that there's the video, and these are all over an hour long. This one's an hour and 34 minutes. You can download your class notes, illustrated class notes. You can download text-only class notes. You can have a printer-friendly version of the class notes pop up. We can even pop out the video so that you can play the video while you're doing other things. So if you just want it in its own little window, you can do that. You can keep working on other creative projects, visiting other websites, those kinds of things. Are there any other websites? Probably, but in any case. As we scroll down the page, you see demonstration photos, and they all pop up into their nice big window. And there's, of course, a class supply list. So if you need the putty knife or the palette knife, or if you need the distress paints or the texture paste, it's all listed right here. So kind of like you can kind of think of this as a college course. How to get creative members area is kind of like a college course on creativity. So there's a bunch of things, and we see these classes as a way to both entertain and educate. So if you want to be educated by how to do something, that's great. If you just want to be creative and follow along, that's fun too. That's fine. And you can just be delighted and have a good time watching the videos. There's class descriptions, and of course at the bottom of the screen there are downloads. Oops, too far. There are downloads that you can go ahead and download anything that was involved in the class and then other related classes. Now there's a lot of fun other stuff that we're going to talk about in the open house. But right now I just wanted to show you that yes, in fact, the member site is open. It's ready to go. Now it's not open to the public just yet. So right now, if you want to be kept up on all the updates, you want to be updated, what you'll want to do is visit members.howtogetcreative.com. So members with an S, members.howtogetcreative.com, or you can just visit the main homepage and click on the member login button, and you'll be taken to the placeholder page. So if you want to keep in the know about all the updates that are coming and when we're going to do the open house, you can simply come here and fill in the form with your name and your email address, and you'll be put on a list, and we'll just announce it as we go along. Instead of bugging people who don't want to know about it, if you want to know about it, we'll keep you in the loop. How does that sound to you, Mom?
That sounds like a plan. I am loving it. Love it.
Well, that's all I had today to just kind of wander around and show and announce that yes, indeed, we did get through it. It took us 2 years. But here we are, and this is going to be exciting because we're now setting up all our schedules so that content is fresh. We've talked about this in the past. If you want to, well, Mom, can you put me back on the two up between you and me?
I can, but I'm still seeing your
screen. That's all right. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here.
Got ya. Okay.
All right, that should be back to just you and me.
We see you.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set up all the schedules so that all the content is going into the site on a regular basis, and that you guys are getting great, cool, fun stuff. If you want to be involved in the members, that's fun. You're still going to have all the same stuff that you've enjoyed to this point with live streams and the website, the homepage. The public page is not going anywhere, and the YouTube channel is not going anyplace. We're just adding some new fun stuff, and we're going to be putting a bunch of bonuses in that area. We're going to be doing videos and seasons so that there's a time in which Mom can put together a collection of new classes and new fun content, and then we're going to take a little time off, a couple of weeks off, and then start a new season. So we're really going to we're going to treat this like it's like a college course, or even like kind of like a television series, and that's what we're doing. So that's the big announcement.
Yay! And I'm so excited. I am so excited I could just turn inside out, but I won't. I'll spare you. All right.
I do have the chat up if you want to ask a couple of questions.
Yeah.
I only have time for like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Let's say five questions. And then we'll spend a bunch of time in like a little other live stream on a different day in a few days from now.
Yeah.
Doing a real full Q&A and full demonstration.
Okay. So if anybody has a question, stick it in the chat real quickly. So far, we're just getting comments. I guess you see those.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, it's going to be fun, you guys. It's really going to be fun, and it's all worth it. I've seen the other side. I've seen, not the dark side, I've seen the light. I've seen the good side. I've seen the fun side. And it is going to be so amazingly fun and cool. And fun for you, fun for me, both. So that's good. There you go. Eileen has a question for you. Thanks, Claire.
The videos are not downloadable, but they are unlimited. You can watch them as many times as you want to. And so long as you have a membership, you can come in and watch all the classes. Every class that's in your member level, your standard member level, will be unlimited watches. So unlimited views. You can watch as many times as you like to.
Okay. Anybody else? couple more questions if you want to, and if we don't, we got to get crack-a-lacking, people. I just got to say.
I know I'm taking up too much of the creative time.
I got a whole stack of stuff over here I got to get to, you know. And besides that, because my computer tech person who lives in LA is not here, I have to hire another computer tech to come in this afternoon to do something on my computer. How about that? Yeah. Because I'm too big a chicken to do it myself.
That's okay. You don't have to do that stuff.
That's right.
All
right.
If you don't have more questions, I'm going to scoot and go do some more stuff throughout the day.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, how much is the membership? There's going to be 3 levels. There's going to be a $1 trial. There's going to be a monthly membership. It's going to be $37. There's going to be a yearly price. And I'm not going to cover that one. You can probably do the math on that. But the yearly membership comes with a bunch of extra bonuses that you don't get in the standard membership.
Yeah.
The $1 trial will be for a full 30 days, so you can try it out, enjoy it, see if you like it, and then after that, it just goes to $37 a month automatically.
Eileen hopes there's a corner on the member area. Of course, Eileen. Eileen spends her day in the corner. There's a mini bar in the corner, I understand.
Well, we'll put plenty of
we'll stock it up
in the corner for Eileen.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to let you go because I got work to do.
Okay.
All right. Thanks
everybody for tolerating me.
Yeah, it was hard to do, but somebody had to, and we were happy to do it. All right, I'll see you later.
Okay, thanks everybody. Bye, Mom.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. So we are back. Just using Muse. Okay, you guys. So it is. If you want to sign up to be kept in the loop, that's where you go. Members.HowToGetCreative.com. I know, Josie, it's true. It's true. There's a reason he's a movie star. It's a reason he's a movie star. Yeah. Okay, so we are ready to crack on. Hi, Sarah. All right, sorry, I had to have a little Paula. Paula keeps putting the pox on me, I'm telling you. Paula and her pox. That's a joke between Paula and me. All right, I got stuff to show you. Let me have some show and tell, and I'm trying to figure out where did I put it. Here it is. Okay. Show and tell. So I got some lovely cards, and so I wanted to show them to you. This one, my birthday was last week, and I got this card from JJ, which you guys that are card makers are amazing. So she signed it, you know, nice message inside. She does really cool cards. You guys that are card makers, put me to shame, I'm telling you. Put me to shame. So this was from JJ. Her real name is Joyce, but we call her JJ because we have a lot of Joyces. Hi, Janet. So good to see you. And if you're watching this as a recording, the camera's a little goofy here. I'm not sure I can straighten it up. We may just be a little wonkadoo. Anyway, if you're watching this on the recording on YouTube or on the website, this happens to be a live recorded show. So I'm chatting with a live audience. I need a new photo because I look so much younger in person. To be continued on that one, right? And so this one was from Susan, Love Ribbon Susan. Another beautiful card. Simple and beautiful. Just, you know, I wouldn't even think of doing that. I gotta say, I wouldn't even think of that. And this one was from, who's this from? I forgot. Oh, This was really nice. This wasn't from one of you guys. This was from my accountant, which I was just so surprised. So it was a card she made, but she said that she wanted to thank me for writing my book, and she said it's been a great help, which was really nice of her. And the book she's referencing is the Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore. That was the caregiver book, that family caregiver book. So that was really nice. Let's see, what else? Oh, for my birthday, thought I would show you this. Let me take me out of the picture so you can really see it. This was brought to me by my beautiful granddaughter. I mean, and it's a canvas. It's a canvas board. It's a 12 by 12 canvas board. And no one should think that they can't do art, because I want you to know that she did this with a Crayola watercolor set, okay, by the company Crayola. So it's a kid's watercolor set, and Pitt pens. That's what she did this with. But isn't this nice? I just think it's such a cool canvas. So I just thought that was so nice. Yeah. So that was by my granddaughter. And this is really thick. So let's see. I'll show this. It's a pillow that she did. So pardon all the mess around here. She did this pillow as a little girl, and she did this for her other grandmother. And her other grandmother, many of you know, passed away in February very suddenly. And so she asked me if I wanted it, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course I do. Why wouldn't I want it? But is that not the cutest thing? And what she got so tickled about is that, if you'll notice, the background scene she put in the shirt of the girl. So it's the same scene in her shirt as it is in the background of the pillow. Isn't that cute? And she did this in 4-H. I mean, the back certainly doesn't match the front, but she did this in 4-H. She couldn't remember exactly how old she was. And but she said, if you don't want it, I'm going to throw it away. And I'm like, throw it away? Are you kidding me? You will not throw that away. You will bring it to me. And she did. And she was very embarrassed to bring it to me. She couldn't remember how she did it. She didn't. It looks to be done with marker, but it could have been done with crayon. I really don't know. And she couldn't remember, but wasn't that sweet? I know. So cute. And then I had one other thing to show you. And this is in an old issue of Quilting Arts Gifts. This is an old issue of this magazine from, trying to see the date, 2008 and 9. Okay, so this is all about children's artwork made into gifts. Hi, Linda, and anybody I missed coming in. I don't know if I said hello to everybody or not, but I'm so glad you're all here. And if you weren't here earlier, you definitely want to check out the recording so you know what the big announcement was. But I did a whole series, many of you were here for the series, on kid art, taking kid drawings or kid, whatever kind of kid thing, and turning it into some piece of art, whether it was a card or a fabric piece or jewelry or whatever. And I showed lots of different ways to, reinterpret children's artwork. And the thing that's interesting to me is that this, I didn't even remember ever seeing this, but this is a little article about that. And here is a book. So the cover is taking the child's artwork and redoing it on fabric and adding some stitch and so forth and so on and making a book cover out of it. So I thought that was just really, really nice. And the thing about it is, I got a comment on one of my kid art videos that whoever it was that was watching it wasn't so inspired by the kitty art. And I thought the interesting part about that is the point of that whole series was not to make kitty art. The whole point of the series was to take children's art and repurpose it and to preserve it and save it. And so it was just fun to think that, you know, there were other people out there from years ago that were doing the same thing. So I thought that was cool. I just thought I would share that with you. And tomorrow I'm teaching all day, and I don't know that any of you here are close enough to get to the classes, but tomorrow I'm teaching all day out at Soul Sentiments. Got my camera screwy. Sorry, guys. I'm a little cattywampus here. So I'm teaching all day out at Soul Sentiments. And so if any of you are interested in doing the classes, there are 2 classes that I'm doing. You need to hop right on that, get a hold of them either by phone or you can get on the, I think the web. You can find them there too. Hi, Cheryl. Yeah. So what I'm doing tomorrow is I'm doing fabric paper. So I thought I'd show you some examples of fabric paper. Here's how it starts out. Okay, it's this is a version of. Now I'm taking it quite a bit further than what you see on the online. You can find a version of this class on HowToGetCreative.com on doing fabric paper. So I'm taking that and expanding it. But just to give you an idea, it starts like this. This is construction paper, and it's just marks on construction paper. So it's marks with crayon, oil pastel, whatever, and they're just random marks, and then adding different colors of washes of acrylic paint and so forth, and then turning it into a paper type product so that it is stitchable. So it maintains the properties of both fabric and paper. So I thought I would show you. Here's a piece that's finished where it's been turned into a fabric paper, so it is stitchable and everything. And some different ways you can treat it. You can cover it with different kinds of transparent fabrics, and you get completely different looks. These are 2 completely different fabrics that it's covered with. This is the uncovered fabric paper. And then sometimes I add stitch to it. So here is one of the pieces with stitch added, machine sewing, stitching. Some of it's free motion stitching, some of it is using with the feed dogs up. But there's just different little pieces of the fabric paper. The more you work with it, the more you stitch it, the more you handle it, the softer it becomes and becomes more and more pliable, and maintains all the great properties of fabric and paper. Hence the name fabric paper. So anyway, if you're interested in that, then you need to get a hold of Soul Sentiments, and so it is the mixed media and scrapbooking store. And there's the information on the back. The phone number is 573-214-0234. And that is tomorrow, which is July 25th. And then in the afternoon, we're going to be doing washi tape. So that is what we're doing tomorrow. So the morning is fabric paper. The afternoon is how to make your own washi. It's washi style tape. It's not washi tape as such. Okay. So any questions from anybody? So far I don't see any. Be sure you put them in all caps. Rain, I wish you lived here too. Yeah. Travis moved away. Yes, he did. He moved away. Travis is from my hometown right here, which is pretty cool. All right. So this week on the blog post, I think it went live on Wednesday, I showed you how to do backgrounds using a Gelli Plate. And so I'm going to show you those very quickly. And it is 1:41. Trying to think if I have enough time to actually get the Gelli Plate out. I think I do for a little bit. So we may do some Gelli Plate printing here in a little bit, but I'm just going to show you some of these. It's a process of working in a monochromatic color scheme. So It's monochromatic or analogous. It's all versions of yellows and golds. Okay? Oh yeah, dangerous we would be. So these are done on the Gelli Plate in various layers. Now some of these that you're looking at have only a couple of layers of paint. Some of them are clean off prints. Like this one is a clean off print. And this is a clean off print. And some of these have several layers, but like this one I would probably do more layers on it. This is actually a clean off print, but I love this, and so I would use that probably maybe even as a finished layer. And this one only has one layer on it. Well, two layers, the background and then the stars. And that's a clean off print. But then there's some other ones. Here's a couple more. This one has several layers, so you can see the variety you can get with just a very narrow palette of color. And then what we're doing with those is, because this is Christmas in July after all, then what I'm doing with those is I'm taking those and I'm making little ornaments or gift tags out of them. And so we're actually going to do the ornament gift tag idea, and they're double-sided. And so I think maybe the first thing I'm going to show you is maybe we'll do just a teensy bit of jelly printing. How would that be? Think that would be good? Do you want to see, let me ask you guys, do you want to see Gelli Plate printing, or do you want me to just go straight into the stars? I'm going to wait and see what the live audience votes for. So you guys let me know what you think you'd like to see. Chat's gotten real pokey, so I'm just going to wait here a minute. If you're watching a recording, you just fast forward through this, a little bit of a lag. There we go. Okay, now it's moving. Okay, Janice says she wants to see the Gelli Plate. So does Rain. Angelbug says it's good. Okay. And Travis says he'll never say no to jelly printing. Okay. All right, well, let's do a little bit of jelly printing. And then I'll show you how to do the stars, because I have some of the finished prints ready. So let me set these to the side, because we're going to use those in a minute. And let's drag up the Gelli Plate, which I have ready to go. So let me clear off some stuff from my table, and then let's crack on. Okay, so I'm going to play around with the 8x10 Gelli Plate. Now, let me say too, if you don't have a Gelli Plate, if you don't own a Gelli Plate, which I can't imagine anybody doesn't have a Gelli Plate anymore, but, you know, there are people who don't have one. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean that 2 in the chat means nothing. That was a screw up on my part. If you don't have a Gelli Plate, get yourself a couple of pieces of fun foam. This is 1/4 inch fun foam. Glue them together, and then you can just use this surface as a Gelli Plate. It doesn't give the same effect, but it gives a similar effect, okay? It is not the same, it is similar. It's doable. But as you can see, I did exactly the same thing on the fun foam. So, there you go. But we're going to actually work with the Gelli Plate instead of the foam. And I didn't cover it with anything. I just simply, and this is, pardon my cruddy plexiglass. Okay, yeah, so if you don't have one and you want to see if you like it, you can start out with, you know, if you like the process. It's not the same as the Gelli Plate, as I said, but it gives you a somewhat similar result. And I know that I saw, I think it was Aussie Grand Gin did use fun foam and covered it with plastic. I didn't even do that with mine, you know, and I did it 2 or 3 years ago, I was experimenting to see how it worked, you know, if that surface would work, and I didn't cover it with anything. So yeah, so there you go. Okay, so this is the 8 by 10 Gelli Plate, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some gloves in a bottle. It's a shielding lotion, and the reason I put, and you don't have to put very much, okay, just a little bit. Put some on your hands and rub it into your skin, just, you know, like it's hand lotion, so just put it on. And I use this because then it turns loose the paint, ink, molding paste, glue, whatever. It puts a barrier between your skin and the thing, the substance, and then it comes off of your skin a lot more easily. Now, inks are not as easy. You know, inks are not as easy to get rid of as paints, but they still come off your skin better if you put a shielding lotion on. This is not the only one there is, but it definitely is a good one. All right, so I'm going to use some 110-pound cardstock, just plain white 110-pound. You could use heavier cards or lighter weight, the 65-pound if you wanted, but we're going to work with the 110-pound. And I get it at the Office Supply. I found it at Office Depot and also at Staples, or you can order it online, of course. And anything that I am showing here, I will try to link in the description box below on the recording. So I don't try to link everything on Ustream because it's just too much. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a light color, and this is some paint I got on sale actually. It's soy paint. And so I'm going to start with that, and I need my brayer, which is here. Yeah. And so I'm going to just put a couple of colors. Hey, Linda White Holloway. So I'm going to start with a couple of light colors. This one is a neon yellow, which my experience with the neon colors is, first of all, this brand stinks. How's that for good information? I mean, it really is stinky. So it's a good idea to have a window or a fan going, or a window open or something. It's kind of a yellow green, but I need to use it most of the time with something else, like with another paint as well. Now, normally I have my big mixed media pad open, and I clean off the brayer on that. I'm just going to clean the brayer off on an extra piece of cardstock. So what I'm going to do is, for the first layer, I'm just going to texture the surface. Just some hit and miss kind of textures. And again, I'm going to just keep that piece of cardstock available and just keep kind of cleaning the tool off on that. And then I'm just going to get color on the plate. That's all I'm after. Get the color off the plate onto the cardstock, I should have said. Okay. So I'm going to pull that color off, and you see what we get. So it's just color, but you can see some texture in it. So we're going to go for another one, and we'll just use a couple. We'll do 3 or 4. How's that? And I'm going to stick with the kind of the light tones. So I might use some white as well, and maybe a little bit of Basics primary yellow. So remember, if you have any questions, put it in the chat with capital letters. And I don't care at all that that this is an even coat of paint. And I've got some more texture tools here, so let's do, this is another one of the Catalyst tools. This is a brush that I took the handle off of because the handle is really long and very annoying. So again, in this layer, all I'm after is texture and color. Nobody's complained about it, Linda, but that doesn't mean that they're not having trouble. Ustream sometimes gets a little cantankerous, but you know, we're grateful that it's available. Okay, so here's another one. So you can see the texture in the background. Texture and color, that's what we're after to start with. So let's go to this color, which happens to be Acrylic, the Fine Touch, Naples Yellow. Brand new tube of paint. Has a little seal on it. Didn't know that. Didn't know it had a seal on it. I should have figured, huh? This is a pretty color. I'm not familiar with this brand of paint, so I got it at Hobby Lobby actually. But Naples Yellow I know, but I just wasn't familiar with this brand, and so I thought I'll try it and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to use the one color on this and see if we can pull up some of what's on the plate. Well, one thing I can tell you about that, it does have some odor with it, so yeah. Okay, this is a silicone hot pad, and I have a fan blowing, so I'm having to work fairly quickly because the fan is going to dry my paint. Okay, so there's that one. So it picked up some of the first layer as well. And this is coming across as really yellow. Very, very bright yellow on the screen. It's not nearly as bright. It's more of a golden yellow color. But that turned out really nicely. Let's see if I can show you the comparison of the two. See if you can... Yeah, see how much brighter this one is? This is much more muted. And in real life, it's much more, has a more golden hue than what this does. So when you're working in the very same color range, you know, where more of a monochromatic look, where it's all colors that are pretty close to each other, you need to work with contrast within those shades of color, so tints and shades of the same color. Linda says, hubby says Firefox has fleas. Firefox has fleas. Okay. So let's do maybe, because these are stars, that's why I'm staying with kind of the same color palette. We'll do maybe two more, huh? That way the first one hopefully will have had a chance to dry. If not, we'll pick up one of the other dry ones that I have going on here. Working with a Gelli Plate means Goldilocks layers of paint, which means you want to have not too much and not too little. If you don't have enough, it dries too quickly on the plate and you can't get it off. Then you have to go to a different technique. And if you have too much, you just waste the paint and it's slopping down the sides of the plate. Okay, this is a Cedar Canyon rubbing plate. So I'm going to texture with this. and then stamp off on another sheet with that, which works really nicely. So it works not only as a printing to put texture on the plate, but it also works as a big stamp. Hi, Imelda. We got lots of Lindas here today. So I'm doing what I refer to as layered monoprints. So I get one print off the plate, and then I go to the next step and get the next layer on it. Okay, so you can see in the background the texture from that rubbing plate. Those are by Cedar Canyon. Okay, and let's do just one more. Keep saying that, but let's do just one more. And I'm going to open, this is another one of those fine touch paints, brand new, so I got to pull the seal off the tube. Hey, Jamie. Good to see you, my friend. So this is going to be a darker color because it's more of an orangey yellow. The name of this color is Cad Yellow Medium. I prefer working with the flip top containers because they're so much easier to open and close when I'm jelly printing. I was going to put on my apron before I started this. I forgot. Oh well, I have on a crap shirt. As long as I don't get it on the one underneath, we'll just add a button or two. Yeah. Okay, so we have that. Goldilocks layer of paint. Not too much, not too little for what I like to do. The great part about Gelli Plate printing is that if you can think it up, it's probably going to give you a cool effect. This is just bubble wrap, so I'm just texturing the plate with bubble wrap, and then I'm just going to pull the print. Some people, like Paula of Journal Artista, likes doing she does truly a layered monoprint where she does a number of coats of paint on the plate. And if you haven't seen her do that, that's a very cool technique she's got going. But she'll do a print using different layers of paint. But she'll put it on, then dry the paint, put it on another one, dry the paint, and pull off the layers in a monoprint. Where I am doing layered monoprints, but I'm doing actual layers. So there is the last one. So we're going to call those done. For the first layer. So let me see if this is dry. Fairly dry, I think. We'll try it and see if it works. So what I have is a stencil that I cut from Tyvek. Now if you're not familiar with Tyvek, it's a nearly indestructible material that they make mailing envelopes out of. And also it is used in the construction industry. So this is actually the construction stuff. And so I hand cut the stars out of it. The texture and stuff you see on here is just what it pulled off the plate. So that is another layer that we can use. And I'm going to go back to this one, which is the first one we did. And so I want something that's going to contrast with this color. So that's that really bright yellow. So let's go to the Naples yellow, which is kind of a, it's actually what I would think of as kind of a milky yellow. No matter how it shows up on Ustream, it is quite a milky color from this version. So again, Goldilocks layer of paint, clean off the brayer on something because it helps the buildup issue. I'm going to texture this layer. I'm just going to use the matte. Okay, so I'm going to texture that. And then I'm going to lay my stencil on the plate. And clean off your tools as you go. It helps prevent buildup. So that's the layer we have. So I'm going to put this on. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to pick up the star shapes through the stencil. Okay, so do that. All right, so you see the stars. So this is the second layer. Teresa, we're doing these star ornaments today. We're going to do these little star ornaments. They're gift tags or ornaments. That's what we're doing. I'm just preparing a couple of pieces of cardstock. And while we have something on here, let's just see if we can pull that off. It might or might not come up because it may be too dry. But always try, because sometimes it comes up with some of the very coolest prints. Okay, so that's what cleaned off the plate. That makes a good background. It just about cleaned it off, which is pretty nice. All right, let's go for another one. So I'm going to use the same color because that color's nice. Paint might be stinky, but it's nice. It's not too stinky. It's not nearly as stinky as some of the neon color that I have. That's real stinky. Okay, so again, layer of paint, and you can use the, yes, what is it? Glazing liquid. Sorry, left my brain. You can use glazing liquid if you want to extend the open time of the paint. I don't find it necessary because I work fast enough that I don't seem to need that. But you can do that. So this is the Martha Stewart striping tool. So indeed, I'm going to just stripe it. Stripe the paint. Put down my stencil. Put down another, this is this sheet. Hey CB. Your Dollarama paint's really stinky. I don't know what that is. They must use some really funky binders in those more inexpensive paints. Okay, so there is some stars showing through my hand cut stencil. And the reason you can do this with cardstock, you don't have to do it with Tyvek, but the reason that I'm using Tyvek is because it's indestructible. You know, it just keeps on keeping on. So, you know, there's no, it just doesn't rip and tear and stuff. If it gets wet with paint, it's okay. Just keep on going. Okay, so just adding layers on some of the background pieces. All right, let's do one more. And let's go to this one. I'm pushing it a little bit because these are not totally and completely dry, but you know, hey. Gotta live dangerously sometimes. I'm using the same color again. And if you change to a different size plate, such as either the big one, which I don't have, I thought I wanted the great big plate, and I am not sure that I do. I'm quite happy for the way that I like to jelly print using the smaller plates. And but if you go to, you know, one of the smaller plates, a small round plate, or either any of the small round plates, or the small square plate, you're going to have to adjust the amount of paint that you put down. Because if you try to put down the same amount of paint, you're going to have a big gloppy mess. I was talking to Dee Dee earlier about Chance driving me crazy today. He wanted to, I was listening to her and he heard, now you can barely see that. That was not a good, this was not a good choice. Sometimes you don't make a good choice, but that is not a good choice because you can't see the stars. So, you know, it's like, oh, well, that wasn't the best choice. And sometimes you go, oh, sure enough, it wasn't. Hi, Lynn. First time watching, and you get hot sun and jelly printing all in one go. So that's pulling off the kind of the cleanup thing. All right, let's go to this one. Now we got to choose a contrast and color, okay? Because let's go for gold. Because you got to have, there's no point in doing the layered monoprints unless you have a contrast in color. If you have a contrast in color, things will show up. If you don't, when you're working in more or less a monochromatic color scheme, or I'm going to call it monochromatic because everything is so close to the same thing, just tints, tones, and so forth in the same color family. But if you don't have contrast, it's not going to show up. Things are not going to show up. Okay, so let's do this again. So this is Gold by Liquitex Basics. So I'm just doing some texture. I could never do this using a cardstock stencil. It would, by this time, have begun, it would have been saturated with moisture and it would have been ripping. So, yeah, I know, Lynn. How did you find Ustream, Lynn? Just curious how you found me. There, we're getting contrast. Now, can you see the reflective quality of the gold paint? Yeah, turned out well. We like that. And then we have all this yumminess on the plate, so let's see if we can pull that up. Maybe on this one. See if we can pull it up. Sometimes the print that remains is the better print. You never know. You like the Tyvek idea? Yeah, it's really nice because then I'm going to use the masks that I cut out from the stencil here in just a minute. But they stay, you know, they don't fall apart on you like the other one. So that gives some nice highlight, and you can see some stars here and there left from what was on the plate. There's still paint on the plate here. So let's see if we can pull that up, and then we're going to go to the next layer. So I'm just going to use white. Now, the one thing about this, when you're working with Tyvek like this, don't fold this in half and put it someplace because it will stick itself together and you're not going to get it apart. So until that stencil is completely dry, you want to make sure that it can lay flat without anything on top of it and all that kind of stuff, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense to you. I find it easiest actually when I'm Gelli Plate printing to stand up, and so I've got the camera down pretty close to my surface, and that's why you see me pulling off the paper from the plate in kind of an awkward angle because I'm only 10 inches, my camera's only 10 inches from the surface. Yeah, Rain, use it. You can do great stuff with Tyvek, great stuff, and it is really a durable product. Alright, so I'm rubbing a little bit longer than normal here to see if I can get that white paint to activate what's on the plate and see if it'll pull it up. Sometimes it works and sometimes it needs to be drier. But I'm pulling it off in kind of an awkward way so it doesn't, hopefully I don't whack the camera. Okay, so that, using the white paint, I pulled up pretty much everything You can see the plate's almost clean. So I got most of what's on there. And you can see some of the stars shining, some of the star shapes are there. So this would be a great background to put on the back side of your ornaments. All right. So let's move to another layer, because I think that we've got some, I think these are dry enough. We can go on. Okay, so let's work on this layer, the next layer with this, because what I'm all about is building the stars, okay? Oh, Lynn says she's been watching Patty for a while, which led you to Ustream, and the rest is history. Yes, Lynn. Yes. It only takes one person, and then you're sucked into the loop. You're sucked, and we suck you right in, don't we? Okay, so in contrast to this, I can use some of this metallic gold. My metallic gold is getting low. And let's see. I'm going to go with maybe some of this. What you need is you need a wide variety of different tints and shades and so forth. When you're working in the same color group, like primarily yellows, you want to have lots of them. And I didn't pull lots of them because I didn't know whether we'd actually be doing this today or not. So let's see what we get. Okay, so I've cleaned off the brayer. And now what I have is the insides of that stencil I showed you. I have a whole baggie full of stars. So many of these, there's some that are thick that I'm not going to use. Those were left over from something. I have some cardstock ones, but mostly what I'm going to use are my little stars that I cut out from the inside of that stencil. So they're my hand-cut Tyvek stars. And obviously I put some of these, stacked them up a little too soon, because they want to stick together a little bit. That's a cardstock one. But just put them on here, and if you take the time to cut out those stars, I cut them out with a craft knife. I've had that stencil for quite a while. But if you cut them out with a craft knife, then you leave the stars intact, as it were. And you want them, you know, hanging off the edges and everything else. And different sizes also. Alrighty, so there's some, and you can also die cut them if you have dies. Okay, so here is the layer. So if you have dies, you know, a star die, you can, or star punches, you can get some various different sizes of stars. And that's, you know, this would work for any shape. This just happens to be stars because what I'm doing is star ornaments. Okay, so there's what we got. Now, what you'll see if you look at this is the background. This was the next layer where I used the stencil. And, yes, that was the stencil. So you see the stars coming through that are the stencil. What you see here, where this orange and gold is, this is where the stars are on, this big star shape. Came from right here. Okay, it came from right here on the plate because it was down on the plate like this. All right. And so what the masks do is the mask saves what's ever underneath. And then this color, this orange and gold, is what was on the plate. Hopefully that makes sense. So you're beginning to see some of the stars build up in different layers. So you see different bits and pieces of the stars from below shining through. All right, then when you take these off, just be careful that you don't stack them on top of each other. And if they're hanging off the edge, you can get them off real easily because you just lift them up. If they're in the middle, I use a pokey tool and very carefully get a hold of the edge one edge of the star and pull it up. Okay. But be careful that you don't gouge into your plate if possible, because the gouges will stay forever, and that's no fun. That's no fun. The good news about the Gelli Plate is it has two sides, so if you mess up one side, you can always use the other side. If you mess up both sides, you buy a new plate, or you just live with the mess ups. Okay, so we have some stuff down here on this. I'm not going to try and pull that up. Yeah, you can see one of the stars here. I'm not going to try and pull that up. I'm just going to go for another coat of paint. So I'm going to use some white, and I'm going to use some of this color. And I might use a little bit of this stinky neon paint. Not only is it stinky, its lid doesn't like to come off. It's like, come on, really? All right, let's see if we got enough. Hi, Erica. Glad you came by. But if you'll do this on a big sheet of paper, clean off the brayer on a big sheet of paper, the cool part about that is then you have these big sheets to make books with, to use for, you know, pages, to make books, to make backgrounds for cards. You just have some really great starting points if you clean off that brayer on something that is really nice and big. Or to do it, they have packing paper that you can buy. I saw it the other day. In fact, I'm going to go get some to use in my class tomorrow. That's big packages of packing paper for less than $9. It's white packing paper, and you can use that you know, as your drop paper. So that is, although it's very thin to start with, if you use that to do your roll off, you know, from your brayer, or clean off your stencils or whatever, if you use that stuff, then the paint tends to thicken it, and so it makes great pages and so forth and so on. Okay, so here's the print. So we're going to put it on top of here. Yep, roll-off paper is great, and that is inexpensive, and it comes in sheets. It's kind of it's not newsprint exactly, but it's kind of like newsprint, and it's just individual sheets, which is nice. Where newsprint, the way I buy it most of the time, is in big tablets. Okay, so you can see how that application of paint, all of a sudden you get all these stars showing up. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. Carrie says she has a roll of kids paper, white and not too bad. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Or some people use you can get a hold of exam table paper, you know, like they use in doctor's offices, and you can use that. So there's lots of ways to recycle things. So that's a good one. That has a really good start to different things. Okay, so enough of that. Okay, enough of jelly printing. So let's pull this print off. Pull off the masks. That is the hardest darn word to say. Masks. And let's see if we can get this one off. Just be really careful. If you have fingernails, you can use fingernails to do this step. I don't have fingernails because I keep them cut very, very short. And that's leftovers from all the years of playing the piano and teaching piano. Now, your Tyvek does get, you know, suffers from buildup, paint buildup. And let's see, let's use, I'm going to use a craft paint. This is a dazzling metallic worn penny. Well, I'm not talking about recycling the exam table paper. I'm talking about getting a roll of it. Getting a roll of it and use it that way. Not exactly recycling. That's probably what I said, but that was... Okay, I'm going to be just like my mother now here for a minute. And I'm going to say what she said to me so many times that I swore I'd never say to another living person. But you heard it from my mouth. Take me for what I mean, not for what I say. Yep. She used to say that to me till I thought I was going to turn blue. All right, so what I'm after is to see if I can pull all this stuff off the plate. Swore I'd never say that to anybody. But here I am saying it to you guys. All right, so what we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and pull up all this stuff off the plate before I clean it. Because although Paula does wonderful crusty bit things with her prints that she pulls, I'm not good at that at all. So I tend to work with a clean plate. I'm a member of the Clean Plate Club. Another thing my mother used to say to me, hence why I had a weight problem for many, many years. Because indeed, I was a member of the Clean Plate Club. Okay, so there is, now that would be a really cool one to use as well. This one I'd probably use as the back part of the stars, but that's a very cool print also, because you can see lots of layers of stuff. And there's not much left. So before I put this away, let me clean it up. And the way I clean it up is I have this lousy water sprayer that needs to be thrown away because every time I try and use it, it doesn't work. So I spray it with water and I use baby wipes and water and I clean her up. Now, I'm not freaked out by a little paint on it, but for the most part, I try to keep the bulk of the buildup off so that I'm starting with a level surface when I start printing, because that's just how I like to do it. And everybody has their way. That's the fun part about this plate that I said earlier. Everybody has their way of the way they like to use it. I think the biggest thing with Gelli Plate printing is people need to just not expect a certain result when they start playing with it. You just need to play and see what you get. And you'll find, even if you have to use it for a while, you'll find the kind of thing that floats your boat. Now, the star layers that I was doing, I would do at least a couple more layers on those so that I had more stars to work with. Hi, Kate. Okay, Lynn, thanks for joining. It'll be recorded if you want to see the rest. I hope. That's always the plan. All right, so it is pretty well cleaned off, and I'm going to clean off my hands a little bit. Call it good. And then I'm going to put it away. It's a good idea to store your Gelli Plate flat and not hanging up. Sorry if that was really loud. Tossed my brayer out of the way. I think one of the hardest parts of the whole process here is just getting the plate put away to get these acrylic sheets, or acetate sheets, I guess they're acetate, on the plate to fully protect it. So that you get them on there so that they're fairly straight and it goes back in the clamshell so it's protected. And I don't worry about the air bubbles that the acetate traps in it. That doesn't bother me. I think it adds texture. That doesn't bother me. Okay, so sheets back on the plate, plate back in its little clamshell, and oops, sorry, and I store them flat, and I don't put stuff on top of them. I may put a couple of the lighter weight plates on top of each other, but I don't stack anything on top of my, you know, I don't put books or any of that kind of stuff on top of it. Okay, so that's the process, and you know, you do as many layers as you want, and hopefully my stars won't stick together too much. So let me move this out of the way, and I'll be right back. So here's some ornaments to look at. There's some ornaments to look at. Let me move the plate. Okay, and hopefully that'll show you that you don't have to have 500 pieces of equipment, because I am guilty of that when I Gelli Plate print, especially if I do it on fabric, where I get out a bazillion texture tools, literally, and all kinds of stencils, and I get out, you know, all kinds of stuff, and then the next thing you know, I don't have any room to work because I have all this stuff. Well, that I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 9 colors of paint, different colors of paint out, and I had 3 texture tools like this. I had this hot plate. I had some bubble wrap. I had 1 of the Cedar Canyon texture rubbing plates, and I had then my stencil that I made and the stars that were cut from the stencil. And that's it. So you don't have to use your entire art room, you know, to do all of that. And a brayer and the Gelli Plate. So anyway, hopefully you get the point. Okay, so I'm just clearing my space a little bit here. Oh, and this is a cool thing. If you have Tyvek, you can put it in the washing machine and dry it, and it comes out with a very cool texture. So that will even texture your Gelli Plate. So you get some cool texture out of that. A friend of mine did that, and I went, well, that is a great idea. All right, so after you've got your Gelli Plate prints and you're happy with them, so let's say, I don't know if any of these are dry enough to use. This one might be. This one, are you dry enough? It might be. Let's work with this one because you can see it. And I'm going to use one of the prints that I did from the other day because I know it's fully dry. I have lots of star prints here, and you don't have to keep all of these star prints as star prints. Here, let's just use these 2. You don't have to keep all these yellow and gold prints. You know, if you're done doing this technique and you go, oh, I'm sick and tired of that colorway, well, then you get out your Gelli Plate and do something on top of it, and you'll change it completely, which is the cool thing about Gelli printing. It's never done until you say it's done. All right. So to give these stars a little bit of, to give them a little bit of heft, you know, have some depth to them so that they'll be a little beefier than 1 layer of cardstock, I'm going to glue them together. So what I'm using to protect my ironing surface is parchment paper. Usually you can find it in the grocery store. So parchment paper. If not, you can order it online. And I'm going to use Steam-A-Seam 2. This is Steam-A-Seam 2. Okay, was there a question that I missed? Are the stars made with a stamp? No, they're made using a cookie cutter, not a stamp. Okay, Steam-A-Seam 2 is a fusible web or a fusible glue. It's pressure sensitive. And, oops, I'm trying to show you this in the wrong camera. Sorry, guys. It comes with 2 sheets of paper, parchment paper, surrounding the glue. So it's glue. If you pull both sheets away from it, this is the glue. Okay, that's the sheet of glue. It's pressure sensitive, so it's tacky, literally. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one of the release sheets off. Okay, one release sheet is off. I'm going to put one of my, this is one of my prints. I'm going to put it down so the parchment paper is protecting my ironing surface. I'm going to put this on top of it. It's best if you pre-cut this. Otherwise, you just end up with it sticking down to things that you don't want it to stick to. And also, these little bits of this fusible web that I'm cutting off are perfectly usable. So I'm just cutting off the excess, and then I'll just stick it back onto that release sheet. But because it's pressure sensitive, it just sticks down onto the surface. Okay? So then I'll take this and because this is unwieldy in this shape, I'll just cut it into 2 pieces. And my release sheet took a hike because of the, here, we'll just do it on this one. It went away because I have a fan blowing. Okay, so the way this works is put it face down, cover it with another piece of parchment paper, and then you want to use an iron. Now, I'm going to show you this iron. Can you see the bottom of that iron? That iron is for fiber and nasty stuff only. It will not ever come clean again in its life because it has seen too many projects. So you're going to iron this down to the back side of your sheet. Okay? Bye, Gina. Thanks for coming. Okay, so now it's on this sheet. And paper or cardstock becomes incredibly hot when you iron it. So it's hotter than fabric. And fabric gets hot, but this stuff gets incredibly hot. And you don't want to try and pull the release paper off the back until this is cooled down. Because if you try and pull it off too soon, what you end up with is you just end up pulling the glue off. Okay, I gotta get crack-a-lack in here, people, because the computer repair guy's coming, so I can't be on here all afternoon. So often, to get the paper started, I'll just scratch the paper on the back to make like a crack in it. Once you get it started, then you can usually pull the paper off. And I didn't iron this quite long enough, but it'll still work for us well enough to be able to deal with it. If it has resistance coming off, that means you didn't iron it long enough, and I don't know whether you can see this or not. I'll show it to you up close. And you see how it's kind of bumpy in here? Kind of a bumpy surface. It's not smooth. It's smoother up in this area. That's because I didn't iron it quite long enough. But we're gonna go with it. So then I'm gonna take my other piece, line it up, and because it does stay pressure sensitive, it will allow me to put it on here, stick the two together, and those two pieces are stuck, okay? They're not stuck permanently, but they're stuck. Yeah, CB says she's not sure some people here know what an iron is. That's why I showed what it looked like, CB. Yes, and no one has an excuse for not having an iron, because I went to Walmart yesterday and I bought 2 irons for $7 a piece. Regular price. Okay, make sure that you cover this with your parchment paper. And I have the iron set at wool, or just a little bit hotter than wool, and then you go over it and you iron the 2 pieces, and the glue melts and sticks the 2 pieces together. Okay, so the fusible web creates a permanent bond. You can do this on fabric as well, and I usually stitch over it with fabric, although they say you don't have to, but I usually do. I would not trust it personally. There's iron in JZ's multivitamins, so that's good enough for her. Okay, and so at that point, you let it cool down, and those 2 pieces are permanently attached to each other. But this is incredibly hot, so you got to really be careful, because it does have to cool down entirely, okay? So if you have any questions about that, put them in the chat. And if not, I'm going to keep on trucking here. But this is called Steam-A-Seam 2. It was off the market for a while, but it is back on the market now. And it had nothing to do with the glue, it had to do with the paper. Steam-A-Seam 2, double stick fusible web. There are other fusible webs out there, and I've used pretty much all of them, and they all have their place. The one thing about this iron is that it doesn't shut off, so I have to unplug it, which is real handy. Real handy. All right. So let's go back here, and now I'm gonna show you how to make the ornaments, okay? So here are some pieces that I have already done. So these have double-sided. Some of them are fancier than others. We'll work with this one. And I have a cookie cutter, and I'm going to use a pencil. Get my paints out of the way here. So we're going to see how quickly I can do some of these for you, because I got about 20 minutes. And then we're going to go. Okay, pencil. So what you want to do is, I prefer a cookie cutter like this that you can look through. And I found this particular cookie cutter, I got at the grocery store, I think, but I have a link for a cookie cutter that's very similar to this that you'll see in the recording when it goes up. As a recording, you'll be able to see all the links. And so I look through it, and I'll see bits and pieces of the stars sticking through there, and I just kind of look around. Now you can get really picky with this and try to you know, be very frugal with your paper, with how much of your paper you're going to use, or you know, you can look through and figure out what design you want, or you can just draw around it and see what you get. So I hold it, and then I use a pencil, and I just do a pencil around the outside of my cookie cutter. Now this is going to be definitely easier if you will use a cookie cutter with an even shape. You don't have to use a cookie cutter. You could print off a pattern from the internet if you want, or you could just cut a star shape. You know, you could do what you want, but that's the premise behind it. So let's do a couple of them. Let's do that one and maybe this one. But don't put them right beside each other. You want to have a little breathing room in case you decide to do some stuff on the outside edge. Okay, and if you make yourself a boo-boo, you can just use an eraser. You want to use a white eraser, and I prefer these little stick erasers. But use a white eraser, and that will help with your mistakes, as it were. Now, what you want to do is, I work with the Pitt Artist pens. You can use whatever kind of pen will work on your acrylic paint. And you want to make sure that your acrylic paint is totally dry. If not, it will kill your felt tip pens. Now, I'm sure there are other pens you could use, like this one would probably work, which is the Uniball Vision pen. This would probably work, or the Pilot Multi-Ball, or what else? The Food Ball, and some of those. I mean, there's a million and one pens that will probably work just fine for this. But we're going to work with these. The Micron pens would be fine too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to first of all go around and outline. On top of the pencil line that I drew, but I find that I'm more comfortable if I have the pencil line first. And the reason I like the Pitt pens is that they dry really quickly. If you're working with a gel pen, it's going to be fine. You just have to keep your hand, be aware where your hand is. And if your hand gets in the gel before it's completely dry, you might not be happy. All right, so we have this star. Let's go ahead and do this one too while we're here. Why not? And sometimes I work toward myself, which is smarter because you can see where you're headed. And sometimes I work away from myself because I like to give myself a challenge that way, apparently. So is Inkwell still in the chat? Dee Dee, are you still here? Barb, what about stamping cutter on stamp pad and quickly getting shapes? You might be able to do that too, but I'll tell you that this cookie cutter lives in my cookie cutters. And I know that graphite will wash off of it. Therefore, I don't want to do anything that's going to be, you know, like permanently gunky, like ruin it for use with food. So that's why I didn't do anything else. But it might be fine. You might be able to dip it into paint also and do it that way. Dee Dee, so you and I probably need to Skype tonight, you know. I mean, not Skype. Be tweeting back and forth, because you know our two baseball teams are playing each other, right? You know that. Dee Dee always does she does terrible things to me when the Cardinals play the Atlanta Braves. Oh yes, she does. Okay, so now you can kind of play around with this any way you want to do this. So I'm going to just show you up on this one, because it's just fun to make some alterations to the shape, for example. And I usually do it with pencil first, and then I'll go back. Sorry, I'm trying to get it where you can see it, and I keep scooting it out of the frame. So she always sings that terrible Tomahawk Chop song to me. Terrible. I don't make cookies very often. Once in a while I'll make them for the grandkids. I don't eat them, but I'll make them once in a while. It's true. So I'll do this first in pencil. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, they're playing a series here, Dee Dee. Yeah, they're playing a series here. I think they're here all weekend, the Braves. So once I get that, then I'll go back to my pit pen and follow the lines. And the pen that I'm using here is the F, the size F, which it stands for fine, I believe, which is kind of a misnomer because it's actually one of the thicker pens in the pit pen set. There's an F, an S, an XS, and a B. The B is bold, F is fine, S is small, and XS is extra small. Okay, so that immediately changes that star shape. Okay, Linda, good to see you. All right, now on this one, you can take the same cookie cutter and you can twist it and like so. And usually I'll do these one at a time. And so I might add some star points in there. And I just keep twisting it because I find it a little more accurate if I use one point. Because this is, this is a grocery store cookie cutter or the point is it's not a very precise cookie cutter. So you can embellish, the shape as long as it is, you start with one shape. You can start with multiple shapes. You could do the same thing with a heart cookie cutter and do this all in reds and pinks for Valentine's Day, And I used to do stuff like that when my son was in grade school and they'd have parties, I'd make favors for the kids, and it was always fun to see what kind of favor kind of thing I could come up with that was different, and he'd take them to school and pass them out and stuff, and that was fun. All right, so we have that. Then you can drop down to a smaller size in your pit pen and go to one of the S or XS or whatever size, and you can pick out some shapes within let's do this one. Pick out some shapes within the print that you have there. That's the whole point of having all these print things. And then just go in. All right, come on. Don't you know this pen is dry as a bone? Well, that's enough to just irritate the stuffing out of you. All right. I probably used it on something that it was not happy about. Okay, so I'm just going around and picking out the various shapes that I see. And just having some fun with it, just to see what I like. And then in here there are some lines, so I might pick up the lines. And so it gives you a chance to really look at what your Gelli Plate design is. And you can just start, it's an elevated, it's not even elevated, it's just a form of doodling. It certainly isn't elevated. I don't know what I was thinking. Then you can begin to add to the doodles in the way that you like to do, okay? And you don't have to do every single piece of everything that you see in there, but you can just kind of pick up the lines that you see. Does that make sense? I hope. I went off the air for a few minutes. For a few minutes? Like how long? A few minutes. Seems to be working. Seems like the recording is still going. Interesting. Yeah, it acts, I mean, everything indicates that I'm still recording, so. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. I'm going to have to get off before too long anyway. So, yeah. Okay, so that's the concept. And then what you want to do is just start embellishing. And these are the two books that are great references for using for the embellishment part of this. And one of them is Zenspirations. It totally went off the air. It never even blinked here. That's so weird, isn't it? Well, we'll find out, you know. Such as Ustream things sometimes. Oops, I gotta open links. Okay, Carrie, thanks. Okay, so this is the Zenspirations book, and here's a link for anybody in the recording. You'll also find links below the video. This is Zenspirations Letters and Patterning by Joanne Fink. Okay, Travis, I got to remember to do that. I got to allow enough time. Thanks for reminding me. I do have a big old note here, so trying to remember. Ooh, what was that? Something just clicked. Oh well. So anyway, this is a really good book, and it's a really good basis for looking for ideas. I mean, you can see I've done a whole page of ideas, you know, for things like that to use on these little things, these little stars. And this one, also by Joanne Fink, this one's called Zenspiration Zentangle Design, Dangle Designs. Sorry, Dangle Designs. So if you want to see more information about those, you can click on those links, or here's the link that, again, if you're watching the chat, there'll be a link in the recording if you're watching the recording. My mind is clearly in a different space than my tongue today. Dangle Designs. Create.me/Dangle Designs. Okay? And this is really fun because she does a lot of the as she indicates, dangle kinds of things. Okay? So you get some really fun ideas from those two books. So then I just take those, and then I just, for example, up here on this one, just based on some of those design kinds of things, I'll come in here and I'll just pick a spot and then do some patterns within the spaces. Okay, so patterns within the spaces. Sorry. I'll show you close up on the other camera here in just a minute. Let me get this done. But your acrylic paint, I can't emphasize enough how much the acrylic paint must be completely dry before you get your pit pens or micron pens. Anything that has a felt tip on it, you will kill it straight away if you are using acrylic paint that is not totally bone dry. It's safest to let it dry overnight. Definitely. Okay, so do you see how that, by adding just that one little design, see if I can get it closer for you. There we go. Now you can see. Just by adding that one little design in there, it's just straight lines. What a difference it took this cookie cutter like this and changed it into a completely different shape. Okay? Here's the other one that I was showing you a minute ago, where I just picked up the various shapes that showed up within that star and just inked the various lines. And then do the same thing. You just pick up the patterns. And so I usually do the patterns first. And then after I do all the patterned kinds of things, then I'll decide which is the top of my ornament. So, for example, let's see if I got a drink here. Let's say on this one that this, is that what I want to use? I'm just looking a minute. Whatever you end up using as the top of your ornament, let's work on this one a second. I think it'll be easier to show what I'm trying to say here in a minute on this one. Okay, so for example, let's say that this is the one that I'm going to use, and the top of my ornament is going to be like right about there. So I'm going to put a little dot so that reminds me. So I'm going to know that that ornament's going to hang, or the tag is going to hang from that point down. I'm going to keep going. My streaming light is blinking, so apparently we're moving in and out. I'm going to keep recording. So the ornament's going to hang from this point down. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as my point for dropping the dangles straight down. Because if these were dangles, these would actually hang straight down. You know, if they truly were dangles. So I'm going to drop those dangles down. And then you can add little designs to the bottom of them, hearts and diamonds, and you could actually do little stars hanging from a star. How cute is that? Or little circles. Diamonds are one of my favorite things to dangle. Like so, okay? So you just drop little dangles from different places, and you don't have to do the same, you know, you don't have to dangle all of the bits hanging down, just some of them if you want. And then after that, you can get out your pit pins if you want. You certainly don't have to do this. But or Tombow markers, that's what these are. And you can add little bitty tiny bits of color inside your various pieces and parts. And you can use different colors of yellows or oranges or golds. Something that contrasts with the what you have going on. Then you can use a star pen. This is the clear star pen. And you can actually put in a little bit of glitz and glamour, a little shine, sparkle and shine here and there, and that just changes it again. Okay? So after that, then you take when you're finished and you're happy with the whole thing, you need a different pair of scissors than this one. When you're finished with it, then you want to cut out, and I cut outside the line just a little bit. And because this is 2 layers of 110-pound cardstock, you know, it's pretty beefy, so you're probably going to have to use a pretty decent pair of scissors, like these tonic scissors by Tim Holtz, or, you know, a heavy-duty scissor of some kind. But you can decorate these to your heart's content, literally. Put as many things in them as you want. But I do all of the pen work, or most of it. The vast majority of the pen work I do while it's still one big piece. Now you can always add more. You can add more pen work when you're, you know, after you've cut them out. If you go, oh, it needs a little bit more something, you can do that. So here is our little cutout star. Now this one needs a lot more work on it, but you know, it's okay. And then what I use is some distress ink, and you can ink the edge, ink around the edge if you want. Use whatever color you want. This is black soot. This might be a little too dark, but it's what I had available. And then you can do the same thing on the back side. You can ink it on the back side as well, you know, to put as much or as little as you would like color, but it just kind of shadows around the edge a little bit. And the juicier your ink pad, the more that's going to darken it, of course. And then the other thing I like to do is to take a little bit of metallic paint and use my finger and you can just edge right around the edge of it. If you like, you certainly can stop at any point here. You don't have to go to this extreme. You can go to whatever extreme you want to go to. But it's taking something that is completely your own, because you did it with your Gelli Plate. You created your designs. You could, of course, could use commercial stencils if you wanted to, or commercial masks. You could do that, no problem. But sometimes it's just fun to have things that are your own thing, you know? So edge it, and then you want to take your a hole punch and punch your hole. And this hole punch is one of the We Are Memory Keepers. I think it's called a power punch. And this is it's either the 8th or 16th. I think it's a 16th inch diameter hole. And you can just look down through the little window in there if you've marked it, and you can just punch the hole. So you've got a hole punched. But this takes a pretty powerful hole punch to go through 2 layers of this cardstock. So that's what's nice about this particular hole punch. And then I like to use the metallic stretchy cord, and you can use different kinds. This one is kind of a thicker one, and this one is a thinner one, a thinner cord. And then just put a double string of the cord through there, and then that makes it, if you use it as a package tie, it makes it easy to get on, so it's elastic. So you put it on your little ornament. And you can see now by looking at these, this one looks very lame or tame by comparison to these. But now you know how they're done, and you know how you can do it. So here are your examples of different ones, so you can see them. See how they're put together. So sometimes you can hang the dangles inside the stars so they look kind of cute that way. Pick up different designs wherever. This one, because where this came from was, this came from a stencil that I used in this particular Gelli Plate printing. And this one, again, done with the same star ornament, but I just put a border around the outside, just a scallop border around the outside edge, which made it a lot bigger. Most of these are edged with brown, like or some of them are green. This one is edged with green, the distress paint, or distress inks. So anyway, apparently I've lost the audience because they're no longer chatting, so I think I lost everybody. But I'm going to let out the sponsors because I promised I would tell a story. And so I'm going to do that and hope it's on the recording. So the sponsors are coming out because we're done. And so I'm going to tell the story about Chance and the cicada. You coming out? You coming out? Come on. Well, come on. Come on. Oh, here's Chance. Yes, as usual, here's Mr. Chance. And so let's see if we can get him where you guys can see him. Oh, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. These are the sponsors. This is sponsor number 1. Let's see if I can get him up here where he'll cooperate with me. Can you cooperate? Yeah. So I'm going to tell the story of Chance and the cicada. So a few nights ago, he was... Charlie, come here. Come over here. Come over here with me. Yeah, I'm going to tell a story about your friend. Oh, come here. Oh, goodness. Are you coming up here? All right, so we'll put Charlie here. Maybe he'll sit on my lap while I tell a story. So the other night, I was working. I was up here. It was really late because, as you know, the new part of the website, the membership part of the website, which, sorry, wrong camera. If you want to sign up for keeping updated, that's where you go, members.HowToGetCreative.com. So the membership side part of the website and everything else has kept us really, really busy. So I was up here really late the other night. And all of a sudden, this cat right here comes tearing from another part of the studio back in here, because their safe place is back behind door number 1. So he came ripping back here. I mean, he had the look of a wild cat, you know, had that loping, lunging run. I mean, he was on a mission. He came right over by me and spit this thing out of his mouth. It was a cicada. Now, those of you that know what a cicada is will understand how shocking this was to see in my house. It's a bug that's about 2.5 inches long. It's a big, humongous bug. It looks like a fly on steroids. So he came tearing in here. Somehow it had gotten in when the dogs went out to use the backyard. And he came ripping in here, and the cicada is, you know, doing its cicada thing, making all kinds of obnoxious noise. And he spit it out right beside me. And then, of course, he's messed it up, you know, just enough. I don't know. It wasn't dead, so I think he just shocked it into oblivion. And so then Charlie gets in the act. He comes over, and so now the two of them are laying on the floor with their paws in like this, looking at the thing. They've got it trapped back in a corner by a bookshelf. And the cicada, I think, is trying to play dead because it was fully alive. It's trying to play dead. And so every little bit when it stops moving, Chance takes his paw and he goes like this, you know, and he wakes it up. Then the cicada goes crazy, and it's just, you know, twittering and doing its thing, its cicada thing, and making all kinds of noise. And so then they get all excited because these are indoor cats, clearly. Do these cats look like they go out? No. So they are so curious about this thing, and this one is so proud that he's brought the thing close to me, which was really sweet of him. So every little bit the thing would, make noise, and then he would smack it again and it would go off. Sometimes it would flutter around someplace else. Well, don't you know that it finally found its way over toward a table where I have a whole bunch of supplies, and flutters up and gets itself up onto the table. And I thought, this will never do, because he now Chance has figured out where it is, and so he's going to get up on that table and he's going to get that bug, because that's his bug. He has taken personal and private ownership of this bug. And along the way, before it got up on the table, it got too close to one of the dogs. And so he was with the dogs and trying to figure out if he could get the bug away from the dog or what. So anyway, then at some point in there, when the bug got sick and tired of the whole thing enough, it flutters up onto the table. And so then I knew I had to do something. So then it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So then I have to get a container and, a bug hunter extraordinaire. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get the thing without killing it, rescue it from the cat, and see if I can get it outside. So, here I am. I get a container and a tablet, and I scoop it into the container, and I'm carrying it out, and I'm trying to figure out how can I open the door so I don't lose this bug. And Chance all the while is following me like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you going with my bug? Yeah. So I finally got it safely stowed outside and released back into wherever it came from. And it took this cat 2 days to forget about that bug. 2 days. He's looked all over everywhere. And he even had to get up on the table to make sure it wasn't up on the table. But it took him 2 days to forget about his pride bug. But I'm telling you, that was the funniest thing that I have seen in a long time. That he managed to get. His prey drive was so enlarged, it was a riot. So anyway, that's the end of the story. So Ustream has the chat has died, so I'm here talking to myself, and hoping that the recording has continued. And if not, we'll always wish it had. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. And I will see you again, same time, same place next week. So thanks for coming, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye. Remember, get creative today because it's easy.